We're live. It is 3:01 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9:01 p.m. BST in the UK. It's the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe coming to you live. And if you're watching the stream, which you should be, because if you're not, you are missing out on some awesome content. We have a special guest. We have Barry Johnson, who decided to come by and check us out. Barry, welcome, sir. It's been a long time. I've been excited to have you on, and finally we were able to.
Hey, I appreciate you having me.
Oh, absolutely.
This is fun.
So we're coming to you live here in our podcast, the Nomad Tech Project. So if you're not following us, you check it out. We're on Twitter. I think Joe set up the Twitter. Did you get the Twitter?
Yeah, I think the Twitter
done
went
that. Yes.
Yep.
Look at me. I've had such a busy week. I haven't even really checked the Twitter accounts. So, although that Elon Musk is supposed to be buying it, something.
Yes.
What, our Twitter?
He's supposed to buy all Twitter.
All. No, just our Twitter. He just wants ours.
Oh yeah, he just wants you.
Nomad
Wants
Tech
you
Project.
guys. Yeah, he
Right.
just wants you guys.
Right. Why wouldn't he? Because again, we are the best podcast you never heard of. So welcome, Barry.
Exactly.
How are you, sir? How are you doing this afternoon? Welcome.
Yeah, doing extremely well. It's funny. I watched an Easy podcast, and I also watched Juan call me out on your podcast earlier today. So yes, I'm doing pretty good. I was catching up on podcasts actually.
Good deal. So we have you on the show, and we're glad to have you. And then basically the first question we want to ask you basically is, like, talk about what you bring to the YouTube space and your channel. In case I'm probably most people who are watching this or listening to this after the posting know of who you are, but kind of give them an idea what do you bring to the table as far as content.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different what I'm trying to do on my channel. So the goal, and you'll probably see the realization of the goal by the end of this year, this calendar year, hopefully sooner. But I just really want to bring an engineer's perspective, but also show ways that you can use your phone that I think gets missed. But I think a lot of times when we talk about phones, it's, let me prove to you why this Apple and Samsung is absolutely better than every phone out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to, well, now it's Apple versus Samsung. Guess what? I'm going to prove to you why this Apple is better or why this Samsung. It's always pick the winner instead of how can I use a phone? How can I help someone know which phone works for them? Those type of things. Like I'll talk about camera sensors and I'll say, hey, go watch Grant Likes Tech. He's done all the comparisons on the ultra wide and all that stuff. I personally don't use the ultra wide on this one because I don't think it's of the quality of the main sensor. So I kind of try to do that on my channel.
Well, that's good because, like I said, I think a lot of people just maybe they get involved into the Apple versus Samsung versus iOS versus Android, and they kind of get almost to the point of like, flying the flag of Team Pixel or Team Android or
Correct.
Team Samsung or
Correct.
Team iOS, right? Instead of really kind of allowing, really, what does that hardware and that software bring to your
Correct.
workflow, and what can you do?
Correct. Like I'll even say like I feel guilty. I wouldn't do, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't have done this. I would have bought the Surface Duo 2. I had dug in my heels because with Surface Duo, and I think you know this, Sam, I didn't want the camera array on the back. I like to have that mode, and I should have still, picked one up so I could be part of the conversation.
Right.
If I don't like it, I can still talk about the merits of the device. I don't like that one feature. And I was like, that's bad because the other conversation is you and Juan talking and Spectacular Gadgets about the good things and Scary Literal, the good things about this product. And then the whole other atmosphere. Hey, why would Microsoft even dare to do something like this? This is trash. Why don't we just burn it? Can we execute some people at the executive level, while we're at it?
Yeah,
so,
who was sitting around going, "This is a good idea"? And we're like,
exactly,
"This is a terrible idea." Remember,
exactly.
Hey,
but that's kind of like what YouTube is the tech community has become. Like we have to down something like the OnePlus. I could talk all day about the merits of why the OnePlus 10 Pro is a great phone,
right?
But it seems like what we want to talk about is. Like I mentioned this on LaShawn's stream the other day. There was a whole article written about the guy first set up the article, and he should have just trashed the article. He set up the article to say, why did U.S. get messed over by getting the 65-watt charger, and overseas they got the 80-watt. This is ridiculous. He did test and he goes, "Oh, 65-watt is actually faster
Right.
at charging." So that killed his first thing.
Or
so then he was like,
right? Yeah.
then he goes, "Oh, well, you know what? They have this proprietary fast charging technology. But when you don't use a charger like that, it falls back to USB-C power delivery, and it may be slower than charging a Samsung." Sir, they include the charger in the box.
Right. They give it to you. And
like as opposed to Samsung, Apple, and Google, it's still, they don't give it to you, and it's slow.
Right.
So why are we having this conversation? Why did you write this article, sir? What is the purpose? You should just say, "Hey, I was going to write this article, but just go ahead and buy Apple and Samsung." Right. Why look elsewhere? You know,
and especially if you send that to an editor who would have looked at it and went, you kind of almost like really shoot yourself in the foot on this article before you even get it out. Instead of it's like, yeah, you have to realize that there has to be, everybody has a different approach to what they want. Like for me, charging isn't that big of a deal.
Exactly.
It just isn't. It's not a deal breaker for me. It's great. Yeah, if I could get 65-watt, I'll take all the things.
You'll take it.
Right.
So I charge my phones at night. So I charge them at night with the Pixel. I set the alarm so it slow charges all the way. But now that I have the OnePlus, I'm going to use it. Right. So like I might use it more and then slap it on the charger midday because it's only going to take 30 minutes to go from 0 to 100.
Right.
So,
and I know that you were working on some OnePlus, and I can't wait because I'm like really excited on seeing. I guess not the garden variety OnePlus 10 commentary, but really to see what people who are approaching it from what you're approaching it with is more of a engineering, is more of a hardware, as far as what it can do for you as opposed to just a hype train. So I'm looking forward to that content when it comes out for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you were younger. High school, Barry, I'm sure you didn't sit there and they were like, "Hey, Barry, what would you like to do?" "I'd like to be a YouTuber," because again, that wasn't a thing back in the day, right? We didn't have barely the internets and the AOLs and the America Onlines kind of thing. So what exactly was like when high school was like? What was your thing to do? Like, what did you want to do, and what have you really kind of done as a person? Like, what is your current career and what are your path?
Yeah. So in high school, I know my dad probably wanted me to be just a businessman, period, right? And my mom wanted me to be like a doctor or a dentist. So when I was in high school, I was just interested. And this was not even though I ended up playing on the basketball team, I was a street basketball player. So my whole thing was I would make sure they weren't mad at me because I never had problems with school as far as understand what was going on and all that stuff, but it wasn't a priority per se to me. It was I was more interested in get my homework done, do well on the tests, and just play basketball.
Right.
So that's what I was doing. And what ended up happening is I did there was some tests where they wanted to kind of see what they were trying to fit kids into their career. And it was like if you look at every career, it was 60 engineering, 99.9%,
Right. Yeah.
So they called me up, "Hey, you need to be an engineer. You know that?" So they invited me to go to the symposium, and I went to the symposium. I was like, "Hey, this is what I should be doing." So I never even knew enginering existed at the time.
We took something like that, and they called it a jobbo. Now I don't know if that was what it was called, but we took it all our junior. Well, also I went to a military school, so we had to take the ASVAB too. So, and for anybody who's not paying, that's the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude battery, right? So everybody had to take it, right? So I joined the Marine Corps. But anyway, the funny thing was I took the jobbo, and the first thing I got as my was an archivist, and I didn't even know what that was. I had to look it up. It's a person who handles archiving, right?
Oh wow, okay,
right. And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of cool." And the other one was commercial airline pilot, which I have no interest in that. So I just thought it was interesting that I think everybody has taken some kind of form of what your personality type is and what you're kind of good at.
Correct.
Give you what they think that. Based on your
I'll tell you, my dad. It doesn't happen as often, but literally yesterday we had that conversation. So I would say it used to happen probably maybe a few times a year that they would have this conversation, but it's probably once every 5 years. But what it is, hey, I'm so glad you stuck with engineering.
Right.
They the whole time they're like this. Even though that's what I had my personality type, they're just like, engineering's not for you. You should be this, and it wasn't one of those things where, no, we don't do engineering. You have to be a medical doctor or an entrepreneur. It was just, they were like, you're not capable of being an engineer. I'm like,
wow.
Why do you, yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about?
But you could be a medical doctor?
Yes, yeah. So it was bizarre, but the bottom line is that's what they felt, and they tried talking me out of it a lot.
Wow. That's interesting. I find it funny is one, they would talk you out of it, which I'm sure they were doing it based on not really to kind of drive your life, but probably just what they thought.
Yeah, they just thought I would be better at,
And the fact that they thought, well, you could probably crush the doctor dentist thing, but engineering is not.
Yeah, I know engineering. It's like it's a little tough over there, So
right, exactly. So, so I know Joe's got. So we had some questions from. So
okay.
I wonder what else did the team at Purposely Pixel. And by the way,
guys.
Yeah, Purposely Pixel. You should check them out.
Purposely Pixel guys had a few questions.
Sure.
Okay.
Lenny was asking, what do you think of the Pixel Watch rumors?
So
leaks.
The leaks, the pictures of it. So I have always liked the design. I've liked all types of designs of watches, and it kind of has a Movado type look. So I'm cool with that. And I can understand where other people are like, no. So I like the look. I'm excited. I want to see how much of the Google Assistant is actually on the watch, as opposed to the phone, to really give me a reason to use that phone as opposed to another thing. The only thing that I'm afraid of, and this is just me personally, is battery life.
Yeah.
So I have always, and it's probably just a mental block that I have. I don't mind charging a phone every day. I don't want to charge a watch every couple of days.
Right.
So like, this is my Galaxy watch, and I charge it probably only when like if I know I'm going to a client, then it's charged. I go to the client. Otherwise, it sits off of my wrist, because I just don't want to charge a watch all the time.
Right, exactly. And then Dan makes a point of like round watches are better, not just the round works, but as well as a smartwatch. And yeah, that's why. Correct. And I have a Galaxy watch, but that's why I use my Mi Band. I have a Mi Band 6.
Yeah, because you don't have to charge it.
Like,
yes,
I think 8 days really.
Yeah.
And also the reason why too is for me, because of the Duo, just for general use, is I really only need notifications like when it buzzes or an alarm.
Correct.
To wake me up in the morning, because I use the alarm on my watch. Now it's funny because I usually just wake up on my own, but every once in a while I don't want to have the phone make an audible alarm because it'll wake my wife up. So a lot of times on my Mi Band, I'll set an alarm for like 6 a.m. or whatever and get up. So it's kind of nice the fact that I don't have to put this on, as opposed to when I use my Galaxy watch. I know for a fact that when am I going to charge it? If I'm using it for the overnight alarm that just vibrates my wrist, it's on the charger. It might wake me up if it vibrates on the desk, but it might not. Right. So and also I don't. Have you actually taken a phone call on your watch? It's the most goofy thing.
I haven't. I know.
And how do you put your arms? You sit like
this, one of my
like
customers does it, and it freaks me out. But I'm not. I probably would never do that. Yeah. So
I've done it, and it's come out really clear.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it has. No, it has.
Really
No. There's Gigi has actually called me like on glasses. She's called me on watches. To test it out for video purposes. And it's been very clear. I was like, really? You're on that? You're sure?
Yeah. And it sounds like I said, that not only do they hear you well, but, I can hear them well. But honestly, what it comes down to is it's what do you do with your arms? You do like this, you do like this, you scan like this, you're like, talk like this. I mean, it's like, what do you do with your arms? I know it's probably the stupidest thing to really worry about, but it's like, and also realize that unless you have some kind of like earbuds, or whatever, that conversation is audible. To the outside world. And
correct.
If you're in a library, or if your wife calls and you guys are talking about something that probably don't want to be broadcast as far as like your personal business, it's not really functional. I've used it a couple times. I'm like, okay, this is okay. But just the 1 day battery life just doesn't get it. So that again, I think that would be my only concern. If you could get like 3 or 4 days out of the Pixel Watch, that would be pretty cool. Without having to do like some kind of like battery mode or whatever.
Yes. Right? If like, so I'll end up getting it anyway, but I definitely if it's 3 days, even if it's 3,
Right.
but if it's 4 days, oh my goodness, man, that would be like the best thing ever.
Paris like,
Yeah, I would not have to have a band. You know,
Right.
I could just use that. You know.
exactly. So yeah, I guess the people online are complaining, or not complaining, but talking about the fact that the possibility that this was left at a restaurant was a leak, and it was like, it was a story. I don't know. I've worked around a lot of R&D people. It wouldn't be surprising that somebody was just like, they leave in the restaurant and they're like, "Hey, where's the watch?" Oh, it's on the table.
Well, I think people would be surprised, like whether it's Apple, Motorola, or whoever the company is, that not all of the people that are making that are making these products are that into them.
Right.
Like kind of like us techies. Like a lot of times, like when I'm dealing with them, they're contacting me on the actual radios, the antenna hardware, the communications, like all the development stuff. So
Right, the display
they're
tag,
so down
all
in the
stuff.
weeds to make sure the phone works that, they never get. So like when they see that I even have it, they're like, "Oh man, you like these, you like to work on them, but you also like these phones, you actually like to play
Right.
with them." They're shocked because they're like, "Dude, I'm done with that's all my work. I'm good."
I'm supposed to write code for this
Oh
display
yeah, they're like,
driver, that's it.
yeah, and like, I'm out of here.
Right.
There are even some like they could be Apple or some other company, and it could be a OnePlus guy. They don't even use their phones. They're using someone else's phone. Like it was like, "Oh no, I like Samsung better," or I'm Apple guy. No, I only use Motorola. Been like that,
Right.
this whole time. You're like, wait a second, you work for Apple. What are you talking about?
Right, and the funny thing is watching people like completely react when it's like, "Oh, okay, well, you use an iPhone, but you work at Samsung."
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's wrong
Yeah.
with that? I mean, like Satya Nadella, does he have to use a Service Duo?
No.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't have to.
No,
Yeah,
no.
it's like, I mean, I don't think he does actually.
Yeah, no, I don't think he does either.
I thought it was funny back in the Windows days when Satya first came over and Windows Phone was still kind of like a thing, but it was starting to kind of die off. The fact that Satya had an iPhone, they're like, "Why aren't you using a Windows Phone?" I'm like, because they're shutting it down, dude.
They're shutting it down. And also, like, we're just very lucky that the Duo even exists because he really wants. He doesn't even want that. He wants it to be surface level quality. To have that kind of name. So.
Yeah, and it says Dan. Yeah, Satya has to use a Windows Phone. Yeah, I would like him to, and honestly, and I'm not even gonna lie, and I will die on this hill, Barry. If Windows Phone was still a thing, I would rock that thing too.
Oh, me too. No, Windows Phone is one of my favorite phones of all time. Like so I know, like, giving it didn't have all the apps, and some of the apps would crash a little more than others, but as far as the OS, the live tiles and all that stuff, it's still been my favorite experience.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, and it's a shame too, because I watch Steve Alicious. I don't know if you pay attention. You should check out his channel. He does a lot of like Windows Phone stuff. And he had a video the other day where he's talking about apps that still work. Like he actually goes and like,
oh, and still does it? Okay.
Find Deezer. Like Deezer still works.
Oh, it still works? Okay.
Yeah, but you can't do it through the iPhone. You have to like do an account and then set it up. But Deezer works. And it's the fact that, and I still have a Lumia 950 and a 1520.
Yeah. So I don't have the high ends anymore. I think I just have a 630 or 635.
Oh, okay.
So I need to look for one because it was funny. I think Scoop still has one, if I'm not mistaken, the Bionic Scoop. So I need to pick one up. At least a 950.
Yeah, looking at the 950, you could probably get it for like $80.
Yeah.
Joe, where's your Windows Phone? You still have your Windows phones?
I've never had one.
Oh man!
Oh
I've had
wow!
the pleasure.
Oh well,
it was great. It was great. It wasn't until because I started off with iPhone work. Once it was BlackBerry, then iPhone, and then I had to try out Windows Phone. So I would have my own personal, and it wasn't until they left. I think it was around Nexus 6 time when they were like, "Hey, we're gonna stop." That's when I went over to Android. I had never tried Android until like the Nexus 6.
Yeah. Oh, Sean, he's throwing some shades like, "Hey, Windows, you."
Oh, that's funny.
Maybe Windows, the operating system on your PC, you, but Windows, the UI on the phone, I think worked really well. Like I said, because you only had two screens, right? You had your tiles, which you could customize whatever you wanted. Like legitimately, you had a Word doc, pin it to the screen.
Oh yeah.
And then you just swiped over, and you have an alphabetical list of your apps.
And so one thing too, like when I use the iPhone, I have it configured just like Windows Phone.
Right.
So
Me
I
too.
have one set of tiles, widget screens. I just hide everything else. And then when I get to the app, what do they call it? The app library.
Yeah.
I act like I'm typing something, and then it makes the list just like Windows Phone, and I just
Right.
scroll through the list.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're gonna get it. We're gonna squeeze it out of there anyway. So, all right. So, Joe, what else
They
we
have a
got?
launcher, don't they, Microsoft?
Well, they have. What's funny is you have
Android
two
launcher, I'm sure.
launchers, right? You have really two launchers, right? So you have the launcher that's available on every phone, right? The regular Microsoft launcher. The Surface Duo has its own custom launcher.
Correct.
And the funny thing is with the Duo, I'm pretty sure it's not baked into the root level OS. So it's basically the launcher on top of the Duo, right? And that one doesn't have the same features, which I still to this day I can't understand. Like, how come I don't have icon packs? How come I can't make the Windows launcher that's on regular Android phones that you could use, which I'm a big fan of? Why can't they have that same customization? Yeah. It's like it's the same code base, and there has to be something with the Duo 2 and the Duo where it doesn't allow that to happen. And so we really have to kind of like figure out like why there's this like little bit of a schism. Like you have the Microsoft launcher for Android and then the Surface Duo version of Microsoft launcher.
Correct.
I don't understand why there happens to be a gap there. And we've never figured it out. So maybe we'll never know. But so what other questions we got, Joe? We did the Pixel Watch. I'm looking forward to it. I actually might buy one, honestly.
Just quickly before we do that, what Galaxy Watch you got, Barry?
So I have the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic.
Ooh. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
I got the 3.
Yeah, I got the.
I found it has improved with battery life.
Yeah, so that's what people keep telling me. I'm getting about what people say I should get on battery life. It's not good enough for me. I like I said, I want 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, same.
So
yeah.
So
I can get 2 days out of it now. Before I couldn't.
Yeah, so I can get 2 days. I can get 2 days.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Maybe I'm doing mine differently. I can get the full day, and then once I get to about like 10-ish.
Oh yeah. So
it starts to get a little.
No, you're right. That's about what I have on mine. Like it's like I know like the second day I have to kind of ease up on it a little bit.
Oh, look at that! And of course, my girl Rachel's in the chat.
Hey.
Oh, welcome. And we also have Tech by Jermaine. Jermaine, one of my favorite. Dude, if you don't have, and everybody in the chat, you got Jermaine, but his content's really good. So, content creators.
I have to check him out.
Oh yeah, fantastic stuff like that. So, Joe, what else we got? What else did the Chiefs over at the Purposely Pixel camp have to ask?
Well, Mike Team VAR, he said, outside of mobile tech, what's your favorite piece of tech?
Oh wow, that's tough. It probably but before I got into where I said I'm gonna save more money by going into phones. I'm a big audiophile. So and when I mean my audiophile, it's like I do have like these are just cheapy headphones, but I was into headphones as well. So I got some good headphones like by Grado and Sennheiser. But I was into home stereo, like home theater. So I've got high quality speakers, and I did that. Like I started that back in college because a couple of my friends that were girls were like, "Hey, you're really tripping on this stuff, And you're like, you need to figure out a way to buy all this now, so when you get married, you can actually have it because no one's gonna put up with all this BS. So I've got a dedicated space upstairs, and I've got one of my I have a lot of obscure brands, but there was a designer. His name is Greg Timbers. He's around 80 something years old, and he probably has been about 5 years since he's been out of JBL. But all the stuff that was like their non-commercial, their high end stuff, that was like 50,000 a pair. He had a hand in it, like he designed it. So right before he was about to retire, he designed these set of towers that were probably about, I want to say they were 2,000 a piece. Mm-hmm. And the powers that be at JBL were like Greg Timbers design, high quality. We have no idea how to market it. Let's mark them down,
Right.
And I'm like, what? $4,000 a pair for like, I got them for like maybe I think they were like $500 or something like that. And I was like, Greg
Okay, so it's
Timbers?
gotta go-
Oh yeah. So like
take my money.
when man, I'm like they are massive. Like these things are huge. So like if I
Right.
didn't have a dedicated space, I would look insane.
And Matt's in the chat. So hello, Matt. He's asking about what are the current
So
headsets?
yeah,
I guess
so
those
so
and then what
yeah,
you really use.
yeah. So this headset is I wouldn't recommend it. The reason why I'm wearing this headset, like you guys sound perfect. I go on a lot of streams, and when people are new, they might not have the best audio.
Right.
So these roll off a lot of the screechy highs. So these are just like cheap Sonys that don't break. They're like $40.
Right.
What I recommend, like if you're really monitoring and you want a Sony, the MDR 7506. They 06. They've been around for years. So that's what I normally use.
Right. It's funny because when I was talking about home audio, I still have my Onkyo 7.1 downstairs, and it's old.
Yes.
I've had it for probably about 15 years, and I have but the funny thing is I don't have the Onkyo speakers. I have a pair of clips, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if you can get them anymore, but I mean, when I was a kid back in the day, like that's who like had the really high end audio was the clip speakers, right? So,
Oh yeah, clips. Oh yeah.
yeah. I had some clips, and my dad still has his old Yamaha receiver. It's got to be 45 years old, and
Yeah.
it works like a champ.
So that's
Yeah.
what these things. So the clips have the horns, right?
Yeah.
So Greg Timbers, like that if you look at JBL, they'll have normal tweeters
Right.
until they started to get really expensive and they went to the clip style. So the reason why they're so big, these are actually horns. So I know what you mean. I know what you mean about the clips.
Yeah, so that was kind of, and the funny thing is, I don't have my daughter has invaded the basement, so now I don't have.
Oh
my
yeah,
speakers.
so I'm lucky that the way there was some when I got this house, when I looked at it, it was like, okay, I can have this room, my wife can have this room, I can have this room, my wife can, so
Right.
like it was.
Honey, are you okay that I have this room? Oh, you do? Okay, can I ask you a question? So now my question is, do you have the same kind of wife that I do? Because my wife, I will come home and she will like, hey, guess what? I decided that I wanted to like spruce up your room. And then you come in and you're like, oh, well, okay, there's like a plant, right? Or something like that. I mean, did she give you a little bit
no,
of like,
she doesn't do that. The only
Okay.
thing she will do is, so she won't mess with the room. The only thing it will be, hey, I need to store this for like 2 weeks. It's like it's going to your room.
Right.
It's not going to go in my. But then she'll take it out. But she doesn't do any of the sprucing up and changing
right.
things around.
And God love her because she's not doing it to encroach or kind of like change
Yeah,
my
yeah.
style, but she's just like, I saw this and I know. And 99% of the time, it's like,
Oh yeah.
bang on, right? It's a little sign or it's a little plant or it's a little light. It's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has a tendency to kind of like inject her own style into my room. But like I said, I got two 20-year-old daughters who hopefully maybe in the next couple of years they'll move out and I'll actually reclaim a room. I actually
Yeah.
had a bedroom for about 6 months. I painted it and everything, and my daughter came back from.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's like, hey Dad, I'm gonna move back home. I went,
You're like, wait a second, but hey,
yeah, it's all good.
everything for the kids,
Absolutely.
That's the
So what else we got, Joe? What other questions did the person team's got for us right now?
Well, that's it.
That was it. They just want to know about the
Oh,
Oh
watch.
man, they made
No,
me
no.
they got easy. This is
Oh
easy.
yeah. So
Half of them are sleeping, I think.
So Barry, I noticed you're always on like your streams, like you're on Easy Stream and GG Stream and everything else. So I guess my question is, how how do you have? Are you trying to like grow your channel? Are you looking to like maybe leverage it into like maybe?
So
being a
I never-
full-time person?
yes.
Like what's your
Yeah,
like
so-
I guess goal or plan or long term
for
strategy?
Yeah. So I wasn't really ever on the streams that like I just love hanging out with
Yeah,
PG
me
and
too.
LaShawn and all that stuff. So yeah, so it's nice to talk to people like yourselves where it's not about the algorithm. It's more I like the Surface Duo and why.
Right.
Like to give you an example, Juan and I were talking. This might have been months ago, and now I have like 3 or 4 videos just on Vivo. So this might have been like 7 months ago. We're going back and forth in the DMs because we were on a stream. I forget which stream we were on, and I was talking about why I love Xiaomi, right? And it wasn't. I like Xiaomi because it's pink, and I think pink is better. It was like these are my reasoning. And Juan came back and he goes, "Hey, I value Xiaomi, But I think you would be interested in Vivo because if you look at what they do with their OS, this is some of the structure they go through. And I go, well, and I counter with him. I said, well, this is what I do. When I set up the phone, I kind of block that out. And he goes, but you should try this. And next thing you know, I would say he got a Vivo and he goes, do you want to take this for a spin? So it's those type of conversations that I love having. So obviously, I do want to grow my channel, and there's some stuff that I'm doing in the background right now that is going to help facilitate that. So one of the things we talked about is getting out videos more consistently. Like I think right now YouTube is not rewarding people that are doing once a week uploads. They are really rewarding people that are doing it multiple times a week. So I've got some plans. I've talked to Gigi about it, talked to LaShawn about it, about how I can get more videos out quickly while still providing high quality,
Right. And like we were discussing our friend Adam Matlock, who puts out great content, but if you look at his videos, they're not overly literally just more like him just talking to the camera.
He's just talking to the camera. Yeah. And he does a great job at it. And he's not just going, the one thing I have to give him a lot of credit, he's researching. He's not like just going, I think, what? Oh, let me read this. Oh, yeah. No, he's actually prepared this, Right. But he's kept it simple, but he's out there constantly,
Right. And he's also putting up content. He's always talking about stuff that's, having the regular conversation about the Pixels and the Samsungs, but also having the conversation like he just did a video on the Unihertz, the Titan Slim, right? Mm-hmm. So he's talking about things that are more niche kind of thing. And he's talked about the Duo as well. And so I think for you, I think it's just like, I don't want to say it's quantity over quality because I don't really believe that, but I think if you do the once a week kind of thing, I think it's gonna hang you up a little bit.
I agree. Growth. I totally agree. Agree.
But yeah, and then there's a question in chat from Vry. He's like, basically, do you game? Yeah. What's your game? PC, console? What's
I'm a PC gamer, but I'll game on console, and normally when I game, it's usually during big holiday breaks. So I'll buy like 2 or 3 games, and I'll try to at least complete one during that holiday. But now, with the phones being around, I'm actually starting to game on mobile quite a bit more.
Okay, so like quite a bit. So I guess the next question I would have is genre, right? Are you like a sports guy?
Yeah,
are you a strategy guy?
Yeah, so I'm more. So I do a lot of strategy, and that comes back from when I was a kid. So I do a lot of that stuff, but so I'll do like first person shooters and all this. I'll do Call of Duty, Genshin, action type stuff that, I can spend a lot of time with, but I would do an adventure game, where it's like, I got to go solve this puzzle. I got to do this. So I'm pretty open.
Cool. Joe?
Speaking of sport, did you guys catch the boxing last night?
Oh, the Tyson Fury.
Oh, yeah. I missed the Tyson Fury.
Apparently, I don't know. I just know he won. So that's all. The only reason I know he won is because Matt sent me a text. He's like, Matt is an unapologetically homer for the UK. Like, dude, he's like super Englishman, right? And he's like, if Tyson Fury was like, he's British, it doesn't matter. He kicked ass, and it's all good, right? So he was like, I didn't even know about the fight until Matt's like, thinking Tyson
Dillian
Fury,
disappointed me big time.
Yeah.
I expected more from him, to be honest.
Right. And so were these both, I guess Tyson's opponent, was he an English guy too, or what was the scoop of him?
Yeah.
Okay, they're both English. Okay.
Well, he's got Jamaican heritage.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's British.
Okay.
I really thought he was going to give him a good fight. I thought both of them were going to go down. It's going to be an 11, 12 rounder. I was way wrong.
Hey, it happens sometimes.
Yeah. I'm not a betting man, thankfully.
To be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of boxing anymore.
You watch MMA?
I have. I'm not a big. I watch it if it happens to be on. Like the other day, we were just going through the channels, but I don't know anything. The only guy. This should show you how long I've watched it. The only guy I really watch is Mirko Krokop.
Okay.
Because first of all, because I heard about him through somebody else, and I started watching his fights. But Joe Rogan talks about how he stared on Vanderlei Silva, and he's like, the reason why is because Mirko Krokop's a real killer. He was involved in like Bosnian counterterrorism.
Oh, okay.
He killed a human being with a knife.
Okay.
Right.
So
he
doesn't
talk about beating the hell out of people. He talks about literally stabbing people to death. right,
Yeah.
in your sleep, right? So I'm just like, okay. So I know of more of the figures of MMA, not necessarily the matches. So
Yeah, so at MMA, I'll have to follow. I'll have to follow him. That's kind of what I look for. So I haven't really have been exposed to that on the male side, but I watch Rose. I butcher her name, her last name, but Rose on the female side, and she is just she's small. Like she's always the smallest, but she is just relentless. Like you're almost afraid at times that she's gonna hurt somebody.
Scoops in the chat. Left leg hospital, right leg hospital, left leg cemetery.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I actually. The funny thing is, the other day I happened to catch an MMA. It was two women fighting. I don't know who they were, but I mean they were going at it. I mean, that was like, I mean, granted, I think that probably if they had a woman and a man, I'm sure that would probably
yeah.
But these two women were getting at it pretty good. I was like, whoa, okay. I mean, the quality seems to be. I was enjoyable to watch. I mean, it was pretty. It had pretty good skills.
So I think he's retired now, but one of the kids I used to coach in basketball, his uncle was Ben Saunders. So
okay.
So he fought all over the place, and whenever he had a fight, there would be tons of text messages. Ben is fighting at this time. Ben is fighting this time. You know. Yes, Thug Rose. Yes, Thug Rose.
You knew Scoop was going to get in there, and he would know. And he's got a really good. And if you don't have a chance, check out his stuff. He's doing all the I guess was it wrestling stuff, and then he's doing some bands. I saw
his photography is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. Like, so I'll every now and then I'll slide it into my my videos. I'll slide a couple of shots just to remind people, like, hey, you should be checking out Scoop. You know.
Yeah, and Matt is right. I actually have been paying attention to English Premier League, and then I noticed he started posting a bunch of stuff about Derby. I was like, I don't really know what's going on, and then I actually went to look it up, and I figured out they apparently have some issues with administration. They got relegated, and I was like, oh, okay. So now I think they're in League One now. I think they've been relegated to League One. So Matt's upset because the English people are really into football. Like it's not just a sport; they're into it like almost a religion.
Well, I don't think I ever mentioned. I think Sam, you might have heard me say this on the stream, but I'm not sure if Matt heard, and I'm pretty sure Joe didn't hear. So, right in my neighborhood, we have this one field, and it's the one field that they say don't use, and of course, it's the one that's used. All right,
right.
So, Saturdays and now Sundays, it is cricket all day.
Oh, really?
Cricket all day. And when I say cricket all day, every country is represented, and they all have custom uniforms.
Oh, shit.
They bring out food, and it's highly competitive.
Look at JoJo's like,
yeah.
What?
And I'm like, I'm in Orlando, Florida, USA, and it's like, it's like, no, it's going down. Cricket is right there,
Right, there you go. So my question, Joe, is, do you fancy the cricket as opposed to the football?
Not for me.
Really? I guess my question is why? Is that is it cricket seen more is it not as accessible as football? Do people in the UK really watch both? I mean, I'm curious because I know of cricket, and I know they play a lot in like India and Pakistan and stuff like that, but I mean, is it just not as popular?
Do you know what? It boils down to what I did at school. I didn't really play cricket at school. I played more football. I actually played more softball than I did cricket. How weird is that?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, softball is because it's like baseball light. It's okay.
Yeah.
Did you get your eye black? Did you get some eye black too? Yours are really cool.
No.
Nah,
I would have got beaten up for that.
That's an American thing. You gotta have the eye black. Softball guy, because you know who softball. Barry knows who softball guys, right? The guy who thinks that there's gonna be people out scouting them. Get the eye black on, the $500 bat, softball guy, right? Yeah, nobody's scouting you, dude. You're not. Just play. You're in a Sunday beer league. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, what about rugby? Okay.
Actually, so my best friend who I can't say the name of the company he works for now, just because that company is weird like that. But he used to work for. He actually designed. He was on the team that designed all the way up to the Snapdragon 888. Okay. When we met at college, he got roommates, and they were all on the rugby team. His whole like he was the only one, and I'm talking about some of the most wild people that you've ever met in your life. One guy had an ankle monitor constantly, constantly.
I want
to ask because I want to know, but I really don't want to know.
Seriously, rugby boys love a drink.
Yeah, Scoop was a wing. There you go.
Okay, yeah.
If you knew, and of course Aditya, of course, because Aditya is as Aditya does. If the balls are hard, please go to a urologist. He's in medical school. I think he's on the 10-year plan in medical school.'s only
as long as you get done.
No, I goof on Aditya, but I love that guy. He's one of my favorites.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. So okay, like Joe, can you 16 stone? What is that like 150 pounds? Like what is how much is stone in like real American stuff? It's like kilograms.
Actually, I'll look it up.
Let Barry look it up. 16 stone. 16 stone. I don't know what that means. 224
pounds.
That's a big. Yeah, Matt's a big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. He plays Call of Duty. So he plays more.
Rugby.
Call of Duty. So that's interesting. And I guess my question really comes down to, so at the end of the day, you got your channel. Yeah. What did you really? I mean, my question is, would you recommend the OnePlus 10 to anybody who isn't already a OnePlus? Like if somebody had never either heard of and or had a peripheral understanding of the OnePlus 10, because everybody seems to be kind of dumping on it. What would you think? I mean,
yeah. I highly recommend it. So what I've been telling people, because I know some people that are kind of into, or they just like to get phones, and they've hit me up, and I've told them, like for me, like I got the OnePlus Buds and the phone for like $200.
Oh,
wow,
so
okay. Hey, I couldn't walk away from that.
Right.
But what I tell people is just wait for the 12 gig release.
Okay.
Right now this is, or if you have T-Mobile and you're on the Max plan, just go ahead and let them give it to you for free if you're going to stay with T-Mobile. Mm-hmm. But I highly recommend the phone. I'm not having any issues with like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to blow my brains out because the video and the picture quality is so poor. Like, that's what's always, it's bad. I'm taking great photos, taking great video with it. So really recommend the OnePlus. It definitely is one of my favorite phones so far this year.
I still want to have a hands-on with the 8 Pro.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is, like, what's the thing? Everybody says the 7 Pro is the last great OnePlus phone, right?
The 7 Pro was definitely nice looking.
Yeah,
I think it had a good selfie camera, but the back camera is not like the cameras that are on.
Not the Hasselblads, no.
Yeah, they definitely could have. I can understand, like if you look at the structure of BBK, I can understand where they're coming from. So if you look, Oppo, like the flagship Oppos, are showing you that they'll have the IMX 766 sensor on the main and the wide, so you get unbelievable color matching. And then when you start to back down, like even on Vivo brands, the cheaper ones, they'll go with the Samsung JN1. So you'll have a little bit different color, won't be as strong.
Right.
But I think you'll see them upgrade it slowly over next year because Vivo is actually about to come out. They're about to revamp some of their sensors. Mm-hmm. But Gigi's saying it right now, like the experience that I'm getting with Vivo, OnePlus, Oppo, the stuff from BBK has been like, if it wasn't for like, if Google tomorrow was like, hey, we're just not doing the Pixel anymore, because there's features that I use on the Pixel that makes it my daily driver.
Right.
I would bypass Samsung. It would easily, I'd be a BBK person,
Unless you're on AT&T like me, who BBK
oh yeah, if you're on AT&T, you're even OnePlus, you're only going to get 4G.
Right, and just in general, I mean, I thought somebody in one of Gigi's streams says that the network won't even connect to it because it's on the whitelist, right? So now I found a way around that. When I had my older phones, it would block it, right? So then I would call AT&T on the customer services, hey, can you unblock it? And then the SIM would pick up. They would go in there and say, oh, okay. I don't know if they still do that now because that was before, because I had the Xiaomi on my trip to Puerto Rico back last October. And the funny thing though is I have a P30, a Huawei P30, It's not on the whitelist, and it connects fine.
That's crazy.
Fires right up. So I don't know.
That's crazy.
I don't know what that's about.
And the reason why they're not on my list, Huawei, is just because of the limitations that you have. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So and it's a shame too. But yeah, I agree with you. So I guess the question is, what are you looking forward to in the back half of 20? I mean, we're already almost in May. What are you looking for as far as like what's coming down the pipe? Foldables, non-foldables.
Yeah. So I think the reason why, like, to me, the form factor of the Oppo Find N, the Surface, that's where my kind of sweet spot is right now. So foldables, it's not just the pricing, it's the existing. I don't really get too excited about that. I'm still primarily a slab person, but the Vivo X80, definitely. I wanted to purchase the Vivo X Note, and I had Neil's correct. It's an absolute beast. So right now I'm looking at the Vivo X80 Pro. That's going to be one of the phones I'm looking forward to. The Pixel 7. The early rumors of Samsung Fold, not really interested. I'm looking forward to the Sony releases, and I'm looking forward to the 12 Ultra by Xiaomi.
Oh yeah. Oh, because I it's funny is I just don't have enough money in my.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Everybody thinks where I work, like the vault that I on top of is mine. It's not mine. I wish it was, but it's okay. But actually, I don't think this year. I don't think a Surface Duo 3 is coming out. I think Microsoft may skip a year. I'm not really that interested in the Z Fold 4. And I've seen a lot of people are starting to really talk about failures in their Samsung phones, like they're starting
to talk about
not only flips too. They're having some screen failures.
They're having some issues.
We're like what, a year or so.
Correct.
And I really think we're really running into some of those durability questions. I think
correct. And it's funny because the way I found out about it was I had just did some poll questions on my community tab. And a couple of the questions were because I didn't even know I couldn't remember I put foldable, and it was like, hey, so how many folds do you get? How many times you get to open and close it? I'm like, why are they asking me this? And I'm like, oh, I put fold here, So then I started reading about it. I'm like, oh man, people are actually having issues with this stuff.
Yeah, I've started to see some issues with with the not only the folds but the flips. I had a couple people. I think Jason Lewis had an issue with his flip. It had a failure in it. So I mean, I guess that's what you're going to get anytime you're folding anything, right? Anything. A point of failure for an engineer. Right?
It's a point of failure. Yeah.
So, but I'm just curious to see. Like, I would really like to. I'd tell you after using the Duo 2 and the OG Duo, I can tell you, it's really hard. I have my.
I know.
I've got a Pixel right now, so
but I'm serious. Like the Duo, like if let's say for instance the Duo had like no bugs whatsoever. It had Android 12L optimized. It'd be hard for me to walk away from that and go somewhere else. But I haven't tried the others. But I know what I'm getting with, and in the glass screen and like that form factor is perfect. Yeah. So that was the reason why when Gigi, I saw the Oppo Find N, and then when she got it, it was like, okay, that's the form factor.
I think that's perfect for me. I'd love to get my hands on one because I think that would be if I were going to an actual foldable screen with two screens. I think the Find N would probably be. I don't know what Vivo. I know Vivo's coming out with something.
The Vivo X Fold looks
good. Yeah, the Vivo X Fold is basically a bigger version. It's not like the Find N. It's like a bigger version of the Z Fold because the Z Fold doesn't have a usable outside screen. So I'm like, what's the purpose of even having the screen there?
Right. And then, like I said, and that OnePlus is talked about because it's BBK, right? So you would think that they probably are. And then I think I think LaShawn had mentioned he's basically holding out for the Google the Pixel.
The Pixel, yeah.
The Pixel Fold.
Yeah.
So I think if they can, I think if they can, it's like electric vehicles, right? More manufacturers, OEMs are getting into the foldable space. I think they're trying to push it. The only thing I think will hamper that is the fact that if they can't seem to figure out, or they start to have like 2 and 3 year screen failures a lot, I think that's going to really turn a lot of people off because right now they're probably on the precipice of trying it out. But if they see that, if I'm going to have it for a year
and then it breaks, because that's too expensive,
right?
Especially. And here goes Microsoft. Hey, remember the group that got trashed this whole time?
Right. And the
we
funny
don't have
thing
problems.
is, and we still don't have an OEM that's pushing a dual screen solution. Like
True.
nobody's pushing.
No one's pushing it. No one's
so
pushing it.
I'm curious to see what that's going. But you know how I told you before, I said, the good housekeeping seal of approval is going to be when Apple makes a foldable. That's when the thing will happen. Then all the people will have the things, right? That's all.
Absolutely.
So, Joe, is there anything else? We're pushing on the 50-minute mark, so we probably need to let Barry go because he's probably got better things to do than hang out with us too on a Sunday.
I just want to shout out to Barry though, because one thing I've noticed about him, he supports other creators.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yes, definitely.
I've noticed that about you.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed a bit. I really it's a community thing, and like I'll give you an example. So I'm not trying to call out someone in the chat right now because he's not like that. So there's a person in the chat that knows a lot of big creators, right? Mm-hmm. And he never says that he is like, oh, I know this big creator, and he throws it out there. He's just very supportive. Well, the one thing I have to say that I've been very fortunate with, my crew, like Kimmy, Scoop, and LaShawn, is they've always been very supportive of me. But then I have other people that have as well, like Juan, and there are people like, if you look at my channel members list, everybody that gets added to it over time, so it's not big right now, is people that no questions asked, like they've hit me up in a DM, like, hey, I've got this, or I'm sending this to you, or what have you. Like, I'll just say this right now, like, I don't know Kevin the Tech Ninja.
Right.
And I know people that do, and they'll never say that they know him, but he's hit me up in the DM and like, hey, I'm gonna send this to you. He don't have to do that.
Right.
It's like you're Kevin the Tech Ninja. Like Juan could do the same thing. Easy, it's like Jay Will. Hell, nope. I'm not even going to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? I've been around for a long time. I don't have to deal with you. So I'm just glad I can pay it forward.
Absolutely. And like I said, and that's one of the reasons why we ran out of time on the old show, but I wanted to make sure that we had you on here. And like I said, I tell people every day, I am honored and blessed and privileged to have folks that are taking time out. Sunday afternoon is a time for family, a time for relaxing for most people, especially like professional, regular folks that are working and that kind of thing, or people who have like shift work, right? This is the day they're working, right? Mm-hmm. And so for you to take, an hour and a half of your time and come on the show is absolutely awesome. And I can't thank you enough. And really, to really just come on the show and really have anybody on the show. I mean, we are honored and privileged and blessed to have you on, and you're always welcome. And every time I've gone on the GG stream, right, I feel like even though I'm not exactly on there every week, I never feel like I'm left out or I'm like an add-on or I'm just kind of like a token guy that's just talking tech, right? I always feel like really part of that community. So I really appreciate.
Hey, we appreciate you. So
good deal. So Joe, what else we got? We have sponsors. What do we have? Stream Skins, right? What to talk about?
Stream Skins also. Fantastic skins, quality customer service. Definitely check them out.
What's the website?
www.extremeskins.co.uk.
There you go. Go check them out. Yeah, if you you could use the other. I'm not going to say the D. You know what it is. I'm not going to say it. Check them out. Extremeskins.co.uk. They ship to the United States. Get yourself some. They even have Duo2 skins. Yeah, who knew, right? So they'll take care of you.
They do laptops, headphones, do all sorts now.
Yeah, they do. I think consoles, right? They do consoles. I got my PS4 skin from them, and I screwed it up, and they let me know how stupid I was because I screwed it up. And they're those kind of people. So check them out. And also, we got the Purposely Pixel YouTube channel. Go check them out. Sub them even if you're not a Pixel fan. If you are, give them a check out. Give them a sub. They really appreciate it. They're good guys over there, and Lenny and Fry and all them over there, and Neil. So that's it for the show today. Barry, again, I can't.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We were honored and privileged. Thanks for coming on and sharing some time with us. And for myself, for Joe Hickey, that's the Nomad Tech Project for Sunday, April 24th, 2021. And we will be back next week with maybe a guest, maybe not a guest. Joe, do you have a guest next week? We don't know.
We may have TK Bay.
We may have TK Bay.
I see. So I saw Juan. Juan was like, "Hey, get Barry and TK Bay." I saw that. I said,
yeah. And if you noticed last week, and I didn't do this on purpose. It just happened to be the shirt I was wearing. I had my TK Bay.
That's perfect.
Shirt on. So maybe we we'll be here in August. And DT, don't hate. Remember, this is me doing this, not the professional.
We'll make it.
I always screw up a bunch of times. Right? I'm not a professional. I'm just a hack, right? So thank you for joining all the people in the chat. I mean, all the people from like GGS, I'll holler at your boy, and Scoop, and Dan, and DTL, and all those. And I saw my buddy Shark and everybody else. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. And Matt, thanks for coming on, spending time with us on a Sunday. We'll post a show with some show notes. And of course, Barry, do you have any shout outs you want to do, sir? We want to make sure we get those in if you have your channel.
If you have time, check me out on my channel. So it's just Barry Johnson, my name, and shout out to my whole crew like Kimmy, Gigi, LaShawn, so Easy, Scoop, and that's it for me.
All right, for myself, for Joe, and for Barry Johnson. Thanks for tuning in to the Nomad Tech Project. See you next Sunday. We'll be back at it again, 3:00 Central, 9:00 BST. We'll take care of you guys. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your tech. See ya. Take care. Love your faces, and see you next Sunday, folks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.